17 goals to transform the world. So says the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. How is Malaysia preparing?
I believe the way the government is strategizing is to prepare first the infrastructure, have the digitalization come in, so using technology as a catalyst to combat the war on climate change in our last phase before 2030.
Tune in as we dive into these goals and count down to 2030 on Decimal Point.
Saya menghadiri mesyuarat yang dipengisikan oleh Yang Amat Perdana Menteri mengenai dengan SDG, iaitu sustainability di bawah perkara-perkara yang dipantau oleh negara kita bersama dengan UN Bangsa Bersatu. Dan mesyuarat tadi telah menyentuh perkara mengenai dengan pembangunan ekonomi yang seimbang dan juga mengenai dengan kemiskinan. Dan yang ketiganya ialah renewable, iaitu tenaga yang diperbaharui. Dan pihak Komisioner dari UN ada menyebut apa yang dilaksanakan oleh Sarawak dari sudut renewable energy. Jadi kita dalam pembangunan kita mengambil kira apa yang telah disebutkan oleh bangsa-bangsa bersatu dalam program sustainability.
Today's topic offers a bird's eye view on something that has been developed and agreed upon on a global scale. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, introduced by the United Nations in 2015. At its core are 17 Sustainable Development Goals or SDGs. So how is Malaysia involved? As a UN member state, Malaysia is also counting down to 2030, working towards achieving these SDGs through a combination of global cooperation and national priorities. In this episode, we'll delve deeper into these 17 goals with insights from a professional trainer in sustainability. Now, if you ask around, not many people know about the 17 Sustainable Development Goals or SDGs, or even the 2030 Agenda. Could you tell us more about it, how it came about, and also what are their purposes?
Sustainable Development Goals is 17th goal created by United Nations Development Programme. It is created way back in 2015. The agenda is to actually build the entire world together with the theme of leaving no one behind. We want to get every country, every organization, every government to together create a better, greener world, create more harmonious communities, and a lot of ethical, good people, create a better world for us and for the future generation to live in. So that's the SDG agenda, basically.
What about the 2030 Agenda? Or is that the same?
So the SDG goal has two checkpoints. So the first report card will be from 2015 to 2030, and then the next report card will be from 2030 to 2050. So we are looking forward for the first report card ever since it was being signed back in 2015. So this will be in a very exciting time to see how we have actually progressed with the agenda being set way back in 2015.
So the target year is 2030. What is our SDG progress in 2024, and are we able to achieve these 17 goals by the year 2030?
That's exciting because there are some countries who have actually attained their targets, their goals, but there are some countries that are looking to amend and adjust their targets. So maybe they will go beyond 2030, 2035, but it is a continuous effort. United Nations are following everybody's progress very closely and make sure that each country, each organization gets support where it's needed. And this is where SDG 17 comes into play, which is the partnership agenda. Make sure that nobody is left behind. Yeah.
You have spent years in terms of ESG and sustainability, and not forgetting also climate change mitigation. And you also have an impressive background. You are a chartered accountant and also a founder for a 1,000-acre agro park in Johor. Could you tell us about your work that led you to become an accredited trainer in ESG, SDG and sustainability?
Wow, okay. Being a chartered accountant, I have been exposed to oversee things at a very macro level. I was once also serving the United Nations, and that gave me a global exposure, early exposure way before the SDG has been signed. Then after I was being introduced into the agriculture sector, and I feel that this is where I want to combine my business knowledge and my sustainability passion together. For me to come on as a trainer, it's because there is a demand for me to share my experience, my journey, and I also feel that I need to continuously upgrade my skills, my knowledge, my expertise, so that I can share whatever I have done and I can inspire and aspire people to join the sustainability agenda with me. Together we need to combat climate change. There is a war on climate change and we need everybody together.
That's wonderful. Someone also told me that you used to also own a cattle farm. Did you also put some sort of sustainability, not programs, but also initiatives into that farm?
Yes. So in our farm, it is interesting because it is a farm that is led by women. In the agriculture sector, it's a lot of masculinity there. So for me to come out as a woman in agriculture, it's already a challenge. But then that does not hinder me. I collaborated with Huawei, Asia Pacific, to embark on our AI journey. We also collaborated with Jabatan Agama Islam Johor for our Makasih Asyariah, which is equivalent to SDG, to create a more sustainable future. And we have collaborated with universities as well to understand a little bit more what we do to refine the things that we have done. So there's a lot of partnership there, a lot of technology going there, and that's what creates a sustainable farm for food security, for climate change. So that has been my journey so far.
Now, it's great that you put in the sustainability practices into your own business endeavors, and you mentioned also you are a trainer when it comes to ESG, SDG, and also sustainability. I personally didn't know that this kind of work or trainers are required or even needed. Could you tell us more about who do you train, and is there a need for that?
Oh, okay. As an accredited SDG UN Impact trainer, it is very important that we educate organizations, companies, corporates, individuals about the agenda, the Sustainable Development Goal agenda, because the agenda is created to make impact, to change people's lives positively, to create a greener planet. And there are ways, there are methodologies to do it, there are scientific ways to do it, and there are benefits that you can reap, and there are risks that you can mitigate. So when you engage professionals and you are trained well, you are able to enjoy the benefits, make better profits, create better impacts, and that is what sustainability is all about.
These 17 goals were drawn up 10 years ago, but leaders at a global level had been building upon their work for decades in order to find solutions to ensure that planet Earth is a livable home for generations to come. How does Malaysia align its national strategies with these SDGs? Now let's talk about Malaysia. How does Malaysia align its national strategies with the SDGs? For example, the 12 and 13 Malaysia plans.
Ever since Malaysia signed the agreement in 2015, Malaysia has been developing the country under our own noses, but we don't realize it. So let me take you back from RNK 11.
Okay.
So if you look from RNK 11, the 11th Malaysian Plan, you can see 2015 to 2020, there's a lot of infrastructures that are being built up. So we have more buildings that have accessibility to people with disability. You know, you have highways being brought up, you have infrastructures are being built, cities are being developed, you have ports being upgraded. So we built a lot of infrastructures. Then after, if you notice, the last 5 years, you're talking a lot about digitalization. So we went into AI, IR 4.0, automation, artificial intelligence, and now when we are talking about the 13th Malaysian Plan, we're looking at the government involving more on active climate change mitigation. So I believe the way the government is arranging or planning, strategizing its goals is to prepare first the infrastructure, have the digitalization come in, so using technology as a catalyst to combat the war on climate change in our last phase before 2030.
Well, that's a lot in place that people like me may not know. And maybe some of them, whoever is watching right now, may also not know that you also were not really involved, but also advised when it comes to the 11th, 12th and even 13th Malaysia Plan, right? Could you tell us more about that?
I have been asked to advise on the 11th, 12th and 13th Malaysian Plan, particularly on food security. And this is where I advocate for farmers' rights. So for example, I did advocate for farmers getting more accessibility towards pension fund and health benefits. We want more allocation for empowering farmers towards technology and access to better trainings, better knowledge. And we also fought for food security, as in we want more production for beef, chickens and fisheries as well. So I advise them to ensure that when you develop the country, when we move towards modernization, we also need to make sure that our food, our basic needs and necessities, and our farmers are not left behind. So that is where I advise them on the agenda of food security.
That's very interesting. And how were you chosen to advise on this? Is it because based on your expertise or your knowledge? How did this all come about?
I think my work with Huawei piqued a lot of everybody's interest, and because my farm was one of the largest privately owned farms, so I was in the cattle ranching business, so managing 1,000 acre with more than 5,000 cattle with technology, very female energy driven. It's very new, it's very modern, and I believe this is what the government appreciate, to incorporate technology and modernization into something that is very essential. So of course my ability to look at things at a very macro level, at a very business-like point of view, really helps them to also include my ideas more practically for other farmers as well. So I became sort of a role model for them to look after. So whatever I do in large scale can also be done in smaller scale. Yeah.
Now, I like how you put your own input, your own sustainability initiatives into your business, and also that partnership, for example, with Huawei. Now, how do we, as people like me, adopt these SDG goals, and also what is the importance of having these private-public partnerships when we want to achieve these goals?
Okay, the sustainability agenda is a habit, it's a practice. We want to incorporate this in our lifestyle, and not just in our daily lives, but in our business ethics, in our corporate culture. This is what is going to create a better world. And we need to get more people, more parties getting involved, because then only we can create a bigger impact, a long-lasting impact. With this, we can create a greener world. We can benefit from it as well. And we are providing an opportunity for future generation to take this a step further. Yeah, so that's why it is very important to have partnerships, formal and informal partnerships between the public, corporates, and also individuals to work together. lot of misperception. They feel that the responsibility over our planet, of our happiness, of our community lies upon the shoulders of the government. But truth be told, sustainability is for us.
Sarawak Premier Dato' Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg has emphasised that Sarawak has made progress on 11 out of 17 SDG pillars, driven by the Post-COVID-19 Development Strategy or PCDS 2030, which has gained recognition from global agencies like Standard & Poor's. And this commitment to sustainable development is crucial for attracting more quality investments to Sarawak. Now let's take Sarawak for an example. What are some of the plans done locally that directly benefit us, which are also aligned with any of these 17 SDGs?
Okay, Sarawak has always been pioneering in sustainability, SDG and ESG. We are talking now building smart cities whereby everything is accessible from your office to the hospital, from your office to schools, and that is in their plan. So that will create more accessibility for public transportation, efficiency. We are seeing that coming up in Bintulu. Okay, for example, the Rainforest Music Festival is aligned with SDG 11. It brings in a lot of tourists to come in. It's a well sought after event. It brings international tourists come in. It enhances a lot of music. It allows a lot of people to also know about Sarawak culture and tradition. So that aligns with SDG 11, which talks about cultural preservation.
And I think that's also important, to ensure that the culture and also Sarawak having very diverse culture itself, and we are able to also experience that through this musical festival.
Exactly, because the culture defines us, the tradition defines us. So we are very happy to show our culture and our tradition to the rest of the world.
Now let's take another example. For example, education. How does Sarawak address the gaps in education?
We are looking at Sarawak taking their steps more advanced and more fast. They are looking into providing free tertiary education for all Sarawakians. So that will allow a lot of Sarawakians, despite of the economic differences, different background, access to better knowledge, better opportunities. At the same time, with the help of technology, we can see Sarawak is adopting satellite-based internet access. For example, the Starlink. This will give the rural areas access to internet, not just for knowledge, not just for information, but the opportunity to also getting involved in economic development as well. So this will continuously grow Sarawak for a brighter future for the next generation.
Wonderful, and you can see that this is done at a state level. But we also, or what I have recently read, the Muka district in Sarawak recently launched the SDG program in November 2024. Could you tell us more about such programs being done throughout Sarawak?
There are a lot of programs that is being held entire of Sarawak. Now the Muka district program is exemplary because they have taken a formal step to engage the community. What they have done is they have done actually a beach cleanup program, and this is very important to get the community involved, to educate them about the importance of having a clean beach and what is the relationship having to care so much of the planet. And such program allows the community to gain kind of ownership over the planet, and that ownership will empower them to take care of the planet just like they take care of themselves.
Yeah, I think that's very important because sometimes when we even hear the word SDG, it sounds like it's very government driven or very corporate driven. So this kind of initiative, would you say that it will help the community take more responsibility or take accountability, especially when it comes to our planet?
Oh yes, a lot of misperception. They feel that the responsibility over our planet, of our happiness, of our community lies upon the shoulders of the government. But truth be told, sustainability is for us. The government is there to help us with the policies, but we have to be vocal in voicing what we want, what we desire, what makes us happy, what makes us driven, what empower us to move forward to create a more greener planet, a sustainable community, something for the next generation that we can really proud of.
And what about the increase or the efforts for renewable energy in Malaysia and Sarawak? Is that aligned with one of the SDGs?
The renewable energy effort is specifically to combat climate change, and it is a very important effort to reduce the greenhouse gas emission. So what happens in Sarawak is they are involving to empower electricity from hydrogen using solar panels as a cleaner source, in a way that it can help us to be more productive towards modernization, but at the same time we do not pollute the environment, we don't increase the greenhouse gas emission that leads to global warming and climate change. This is very important because one of the major goals toward SDG 2030 is to make sure that the global temperature does not increase by the means of engaging renewable energy as a cleaner source.
There is no doubt that the world faces insurmountable challenges in achieving the 2030 agenda and fulfilling these 17 goals. Geopolitical wars, COVID-19 pandemic, financial constraints, and inadequate data are some of the many challenges. I think it's quite a challenge, isn't it, to find that fine balance between doing good for the environment and also having it to be a bit detrimental because of our efforts. And with that in mind, what are some of the main challenges when it comes to achieving these SDGs, both globally and locally?
It's a global agenda, it comes with a global problem as well. The real challenge is when, first thing is that we have to acknowledge that different countries have different priorities. What we fear is that one country's positive step forward can be taken aback by another country's step back. So example, one country might do progressively with afforestation, which is replanting of the forest, may be jeopardized by another country's action towards deforestation because of economic development. So that creates a set-off. So that is what we fear. At the same time, we also see resources are also limited. We can see that now more land and acreage is given to solar farms, whereas we also need the same land for food security. So making the right choice is very difficult. And this is why United Nations SDG impact standards is very important, because we have to realize that sustainability, SDG, is about creating real impact, real change, meaningful impact and meaningful change. And because of this, we cannot look into SDG as another checklist, as a means to the end project. It's not a destination, it's a journey. And we need to engage everybody, organizations, countries, communities, to work together and create the future as we see it.
The guiding principles of the 2030 Agenda is leave no one behind, with the United Nations calling it the world's best plan. The most immediate goals that resonate with me: no poverty, zero hunger, good health, quality education, gender equality. Why? Because these are the basic needs of human life today. With or without the United Nations Agenda, I believe we have the moral responsibility to ensure these rights for all. And that's our countdown to 2030 on Decimal Point.